Welcome to the fourth episode of Beyond the Classroom. As always, we're telling stories, inspiring tech careers, and these stories are told by none other than students. The individual we have today is the one whom I'm a fan of, the mentor in fact. He's built his career in product and growth marketing, whilst maintaining a good academic standing. Furthermore, he's led the biggest student-led innovation competition in West Africa, with Professor Ayodele Awojobi design competition, PAADC. We have none other than Ridwan Ganiy. How are you doing?
Hi Salim, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Let's do this.
So talk to me. I'm really curious. What was you doing before the University of Lagos like?
That's a good question. Well, just before University of Lagos, I think I was particularly very uptight about my career, what I'm looking forward to. I think it was at that moment that I realized that, the usual medicine or whatnot wasn't exactly what I wanted. So it was just before University of Lagos. It was really like a period of self-awareness in terms of like career and basically just finding myself in that space, right, and just building my confidence in what the journey was.
So you mentioned medicine right now,
Yeah.
and I reckon that you studied biochemistry. You're a final year student.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that?
I mean, I think it's pretty much easy. It's an easy guess. Medicine reject. A very funny story is I got into medicine because of peer pressure. And of course, my parents wanted me to do medicine. They always wanted a doctor in the family anyway. Those two reasons, right? And then I think the third thing was basically because, I love biology anyway. But then, as we'll have it, JAMB and all of that, I didn't get into medicine. So it was biochemistry. I was like, okay, no problem. I think at the end of the day, it was that even gave me the conviction that, I was going to pursue a career somewhere else. Yeah.
When you came into biochemistry, what was the first year like? What was the expectations coming in as well?
So I think that was pretty great because I made a lot of consultation before entering the university, right? I talked to a lot of people. And now looking back at it, it was actually a good effort on my end because think about like different profiles of people. I wasn't going to study medicine again, but I was talking to doctors. I still wanted to know what it felt like to pursue academic excellence. Even if I wasn't doing medicine, even if it could be a plan B that I'll cross over back to medicine. At the time, I talked to a partner at PwC. I remember I had a one-on-one with Aldo McCurry, who was CEO of Chocolate City. I did a lot of courses, even down to people who were students. A family friend of mine who was a first class in chemical engineering at the time. His brother, who at the time was also the faculty president of law, student society. And so like all of the opinions I got from them just really shaped how like I was going into my first year. So, and there were key things that I remember that were mentioned to me that I probably just didn't forget. One of the first things was just opening your eyes to opportunities because it's the University of Lagos, right? You're probably not in OAU or UI, and so you don't just have to bury your head down to your books and all of that. And then at the end of the day, you probably be better off, position yourself for these opportunities and, see when all of that goes. Aside from that, I also think that I got, in terms of advice, I got validation on the fact that you could be a working class student and still be good in class, and that would probably even be better for you because you have solid experience by the time you're leaving. So I got that validation from Farouk, who was LSS president at the time. Most importantly, the partner at PwC I was talking about, and then a family friend of mine who was the first person. So that was enough for me.
So coming in, you were really confident that, okay, I'm not just going to be an amazing student, however, I'm going to also be working and doing well. We always super clear about that from the onset.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I always knew that I was going to be working. So I started with PR, right? I started with PR. It was never, in fact, 5 years ago, I didn't know there was anything called product marketing and growth marketing. But then I think that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the journey. That's the beauty of learning. Sometimes you have to pivot. You have to reinvent yourself. So at the time I started with PR, I wanted to do stuff in media. I had a role model in mind, and I was shadowing his but now that has changed anyway. But yeah, and so along the line, I found marketing, and I'm like, oh, okay, this seems more sustainable. This seems more. And then when I was in marketing, communications for the most part, I found marketing in tech, which had its own vocabulary, sort of, so to speak, growth marketing, product marketing. And yeah, we're here.
And what was your first work experience?
Yeah, that was with Brainy Edtech. It was owned by fantastic couple, the Olajobis. They were great. They were graceful enough to actually give a lot of us that, foundation, to gain work experience, just to familiarize yourself, just building your capacity from scratch, right? Just being close to your secondary school students who exactly didn't know how, and not having a solid sort of understanding to how organizations work or how you work with people, to achieve a common goal and all of those things, was what the Olajobis, my first experience at Brainerd Care sort of gave me. And it also challenged me a bit because I remember that was the first time I heard about Canva, and then like randomly someone that was supervising me then was just like, oh, like we need the design, and I think the designer was not available. I was like, oh, you could go for it. I'm like, I can't do it. I don't know what that is. I can't do it. And it was like, no, you're going to have to try. Like that's how you do these things. I think that was one of the first hand experience of me just going out of my way to do something. And I mean, just every other project that I worked on within that experience just opened my mind to just basically how to get stuff done. Yeah.
I speak to a lot of people, and something that's quite well common with them is how they spent their COVID break
Yeah.
in lockdown. As a matter of fact, back then I used to have this theory that employers in the future will be curious to know how you spent that time, right? So
Yeah.
what was the COVID break like?
It was pivotal actually. It was great. Different things happened at different points. In that same year, I lost a job, which was like my second, but it was one of the most exciting. It was supposed to be like a very exciting opportunity, but the person couldn't continue because of course it was COVID. So, and he was also not sure about uncertain times. It was uncertain times. He was also not sure. So yeah, he called it off, and then honestly, I really didn't lose my confidence, to be honest, because I mean, just felt like life will move on anyway. But at the end of the day, I got one of my biggest opportunities, which was working at Red Media. It was really mind opening, and that was 2020. I also, worked with another reputable media agency, which was it was just all around fantastic, right? Because I didn't exactly lose out on sort of like my career momentum at the time, and relatively, I found myself in the best of positions that I probably could at the time, right? To be honest, realistically, so yeah, I think it was really just decent. Yeah.
For the record, everyone is here. His name is cemented in the Hall of Fame for PAADC. You might not listen to it, okay? He's and you led
Okay.
the sixth edition
Yeah.
as the chairman. So
Yeah.
what initially led you to volunteer for PAADC?
Like a lot of people, it was just experiencing the grand finale. I think I was in my first year when I experienced the grand finale, when Awojobi was actually the leader, the PAADC chairman at the time. And then someone who I consider to be like a mentor to me, Abdulhamid Ubile, was actively, because like, I was just keeping tabs with him, I'm rolling with him at the time. And I could just see how he was actively supporting Dio in making sure that that year's edition was fantastic. And so you go to Dio's room, and then like, I think just the curious part of me was just like, as a university student, what could be this important that you people want to kill yourself? But then moving from that to actually going to the grand finale and seeing all of that pan out, you've seen the work behind the scenes, and you've seen the output. It was fantastic, and the output was great. So I was like, okay, you know what, we're doing this. It was very inspirational to be in the hall.
When you joined it now, you joined the same, right? All your expectations going in, I would just say your experiences were in tandem with expectations.
It went overboard. My expectations, I'm sorry, sort of like the outcome actually went overboard, way from my expectations. My expectations going in was really, I just wanted to be capacity, right? And I felt like PADC was the perfect. I mean, I heard about other student organizations, but it just didn't seem like, they were really doing anything. But for PADC, I just felt like, getting in here would really test me. And yeah, it was also like an opportunity to climb up the ladder, because if you're coming in a certain position at the time, because you're sort of rode with the chairman, previous chairman, so you want to see what it's like to actually get to the peak there. So that was also another exciting challenge.
So you led the content team, and
Yeah.
then at some point you led the
Sponsorship team. Yeah.
How different were both roles?
Absolutely, because one is facing like the revenue part of the organization. It's facing you squarely like this. But I mean, they each of them came with their own, challenges, and I think, and it's also one thing about me where, regardless of the role, I try to just set a high standard. So when it came to content, I wanted to sort of rebuild some things around that, just give the whole organization like a new, I just felt like there was so much we could do with content, right? And I think I achieved that to a good extent, especially just setting the foundation for that. But with sponsorship, it was the real hard work, because your feedback to the team almost every week was like, "What's up? I would like, are we going to happen this year? There's no money, nothing's happening." So like, yeah, it was a real test, and I mean, in whatever role, as long as it is revenue facing, like, you face the pressure anyway. So
I feel like another added layer of challenge you face is perhaps because you're a student-led organization. I feel like maybe it's a mentality people tend to have. They just feel you're a student, you're not competent, you're
Yeah.
not serious.
Yeah.
How did you overcome that? What was that challenge like?
to be honest with you, it is not it is not a it's not a challenge that is out of the picture till today. But one of the things that helped me was, personally, because of my career alongside, I started building my network a bit, so like I could get a bit of support here and there. And people could also take me serious, because aside from PAADC, if I reach out to you on LinkedIn or something, or if I'm making an intro, and I go along with working here and also doing PAADC, I think you'd want to give me an extra minute, to let you know what's up. So I think that was that. And then secondly, I think PAADC, especially with the predecessors, there was a system in which they sort of talked about what PAADC and the impact it has been making. So that also broke the barrier in that sense, right? So so like, at the end of the day, people would actually still give you a listening ear because
What I'm
of
guessing is because as you volunteer in PADC, you've also like it's also a corresponding growth in Ridwan's career,
100%.
so like leverage that.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious. When you led the sponsorship team, led the content team, you would go on to then lead the entire organization. What lesson did you learn from leading those sub teams that was quite valuable when you're leading the entire organization?
I mean, for the most part, because it was a student organization, right? I think the first thing was in terms of knowing the sort of people I would like to work with, right? I think that was important. I got better when I led content team and then moved to sponsorship team, and then so like it was just really clear that if you actually want to do something stellar during your time as the chairman, you would have to take talent sourcing really seriously. So that was one huge lesson. What other thing? Well, I think it was really based on that majorly. Like, I just believe that I was as good as the team I could put together, right? And I just followed through with that.
Because I talked to a lot of volunteers, as friends of mine who volunteer at PADC, right? And if you're correct in all of them is, I'm sorry, but like they carry this PADC thing on their head, like they're extremely passionate about it, and it's really nice to see, right?
Yeah.
What particular strategy do you take to talent sourcing or recruitment that I think makes that?
There are a couple of things so the first thing was, I looked out for people who were proactive, right? Because one thing you never really get is you never really get people that are experienced already as students, so to speak, but then they deserve a chance, and that could actually be their breakthrough, right? They could grow and become super amazing talent from there. So, but like, I just looked out for some, should I say, enablers of just knowing that this person was going to. So one of those things was proactiveness. Like, if you could just without anyone policing you, actually do stuff without people policing you, then that was good enough for me. Also, secondly, because I mean, students, a lot of people are finding their ground, trying to know what is for them, what's not for them. I particularly focus on people who loved what PADC was about, right? I think from that end, you probably, even as a student, you probably don't need anyone to chase you around if you know why, like, you're actually doing it. Yeah, because I felt the passion for PAADC, which is why, I joined, and I decided to just do a lot of stuff. But yeah, those two things. And then thirdly, I think it was just in terms of the vision they had for themselves as well. I actually do say that I have a good eye for talents anyway. But I could always tell when someone is actually very intentional about, building capacity and like that journey. So yeah, I would have just loved PADC to just be part of your story, right? Just like a little action. So yeah, just three.
In University of Lagos here, and I think across Nigeria, I think University of Lagos start with that, right? The grand finale is that event, and before you have the grand finale, it's like a whole year of planning. You have these volunteers coming,
Yeah.
and I mean, a year is a long time. How do you keep these volunteers motivated? Obviously, I feel like along across the journey, perhaps if you burnt out, the motivation might go down. How do you keep them motivated?
Yeah, those things happen, and um, the first thing that I would say is at the beginning, there's a very important need to let everyone know, like let everyone be on the same sort of like energy wavelength in terms of what we're going to achieve. So it was like you're trying to build like a hungry team, like not just a hungry leader, but like a hungry team. So we know that we're not going to be tired until we actually get here, right? So it was important for me to just, guys, until we actually do this and this and this, right?
The end goal is the grand finale.
Yeah, was the grand finale. I mean, there were sub goals as well, which were in between, like campus stores and all of those things. But it was just like just important to have a shared like and common goal so that everyone just understands. So like, what would happen is at the end of the day, you probably be the odd one out if you are not in tune with the team's energy, right? So because everybody's on that wavelength, and so even though you slack a bit, you motivate to catch up. Like, okay, I'm back. So yeah, that was important. And that thing was, it was also important to actually record wins as time went on. Like celebrate the little things, right? That was important. So there were some little things that we're achieving at the time, even down to town hall meetings, like people coming together, like and then the good and the bad times, share it with the team, right? Be transparent. It gives them a sense of belonging, right? And it also lets them know that something's actually really happening, right? I can't close my ears for too long, rather. So there was that. There was also, from the feedback I also got, I think it was also from the way I led, right? I led with my heart, and like you could literally see it, right? So the way I did a lot of stuff, like I made sure that if you're on my team, you could just really suck up some passion for yourself from just looking at the way I was doing stuff. Right. I made sure, yeah, I just made sure that, as a leader, I wasn't slacking as well. If at all I needed to take a breather or, take space for something else that was important to PDC as well, I'll make sure that my deputy was also in tune and he could, feed off his own energy as well. So it was just around. And I also sort of like placed there were some people on the team who were leaders as well. They were leaders at both, leaders on the team. So they were also there, they were visible, and people could also feed off from that as well, right? And so also just the last thing could also just be creating that environment just for everyone to understand that people are watching, like we're being watched, and at the end of the day, even if it's for your career, right, you're being watched, and probably be asked about what you did here and all of those things. So for accountability's sake.
What valuable lesson from your entire time at KDC has been quite something you reckon you go back to in your own personal career?
Ooh, that's tough. Let me see. I think it could be as basic as, never just stop learning. I think it's just continuous. Never just feel like you have arrived, to be honest. And one reality check is that it can always get harder. Don't think because you have broken some relatively, difficult challenges that, you get used to some challenges, but you'll be tested with, heavier challenges and you just have to be prepared for it, emotional intelligence, just a lot of things come into play. But just realizing that learning is a continuous journey. And secondly, you need to actually just brace up for bigger challenges.
Suffice to say, the lessons that you learned were quite important in your own career.
Yeah.
It's almost such an experience in your own career. Particularly, you touched on Red Media Africa. But before then, let's go on a quick break from our sponsors.
You are not alone. It is important that you remember this in your mental health journey. The Beyond the Classroom series is proudly sponsored by the Sounders Bell Initiative. Sounders Bell Initiative is basically advocating for more open dialogues surrounding mental health issues. This is in concurrence with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
Also, be sure to follow us on all social media platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, and of course LinkedIn. Thank you. Welcome back. Just before we left, I was going to ask everyone about his experience at Red Media Africa. Talk to me, how did that become where you say?
Oh, okay. So it's funny, at the time, I think I was just meant to get that role because a senior friend of mine who used to consult for Red for Africa recommended me for the role. And then I was also sort of like poached by the CEO at the time, Trudy. So yeah, either way, it was just like, yeah, I was just going to, be at Red
What was the
anyway.
role like?
So I was strategy assistant to the CEO, and I was also on the digital media team. Yeah, in terms of some events like the Future Awards Africa, Diversity Summit, a whole lot of that. So yeah.
You told them there was something, and that's something I want to touch on as well.
Yeah.
You co-manage the projects,
Yeah.
right? And I'm curious. I feel like if you're going to manage kind of projects, right? Diversity is something that must be quite important to you. So what lessons did you learn about diversity and inclusion from that experience?
I mean, at the end of the day, it was just eye-opening to see that a lot of people like were doing amazing stuff, right? Regardless of what you want to term them as, right? Or however you perceive them to be anyway. And it also showed just the importance of really bringing everyone together. Like you're not losing anything, bringing on everyone together and just spotlighting the actual real societal issues. Right. So instead of shying away from them, I think it was just a brilliant idea from Chude and the Red team to just spotlight those issues.
What was your favorite moment from the experience there?
For my whole time at Red Media.
Yeah.
Interesting. Honestly, a lot of it will be the day-to-day stuff. Honestly.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I just really just enjoyed, it could even be as little as the drive with Chude or to shoot or something, and he's just randomly telling you ideas or random stories, or he's just being curious about stuff out loud, like wait, why is this, and you're just forced to also think by yourself. So it even boils down to all those little things. But on bigger scale, I think just being a part of an award show that I've always like loved being a part of outside the company and being part of the organizing team, I've seen it come to levels was beautiful.
Must have been fun, these drives.
Yeah.
Right. So thereafter you were at Endeavour Nigeria. I reckon you were there for 3 months for your CWS, that's the Student Industrial Work Experience Scheme. How did that come to life?
Oh, I love this story because again it was PAADC. I love this story a lot. So PAADC had a board member, still has that board member anyway, who was at the time the MD and CEO of Endeavour Nigeria, Tosifani Odada. She's my mentor. I have so much respect for her. And so like that day, we were just randomly going to share our plans with her. At the time, I was not the team lead for PAADC. I was head of sponsorship at the time. And yeah, we just did our job at the meeting, to be honest. And later on, just after the social media paparazzi of, tagging, following her, she was following back, tagging based on our pictures that we took and all of that. She just reached out to me in DM that, hey, like, thanks for coming by today, you're actually smart and intelligent, would you like an opportunity to intern at Endeavour? And I'm like, oh yes, like sign me up. So I think that's one of also like the sweetest validation I've gotten my career journey, and yeah, it was a good opportunity. I was like I'm so proud of, to have, taken. And yeah, it was a beautiful experience.
So I'm getting is now you're volunteering in an organization and then you're growing as well, and then you get opportunities by virtue of volunteering.
Exactly.
That's really nice.
Exactly.
So at Endeavour, you worked on three different things.
Yeah.
Initially operations, marketing, and
strategy.
And then strategy.
Yeah.
How different were three things? And which one did you enjoy most?
Which one did I enjoy most? I think it was strategy, and it was called entrepreneur selection and growth. And it was just really about sourcing, managing and scaling entrepreneurs within the tech ecosystem, right? And so, I mean, of course, it was going to be fun because they are literally just seeing how Endeavour were positioning themselves to help, the trailblazing tech companies and, the founders, right? Flutterwave, Moneypoint, Piggyvest, just seeing the team working closely with these founders just to ensure that, whatever they needed to succeed in their company came through. I think it was just really interesting to be a part of that. Yeah, next will be marketing because of course it's marketing. I'm pushing strategy first because it was just a new avenue. Like it was an avenue to actually just learn new things. Yeah, that it was an avenue to learn new things. And that actually has given me a strong idea of the next career I want to reinvent myself into. Yeah, when I'm done with marketing. So everything counts.
Afterwards, you worked at LearnAim, and before I touch on LearnAim, based on your entire work experience at this point, how important do you see soft skills has been?
Absolutely. To be honest, at that stage in my career and even now, I think it's just important to just tell when your technical skills are actually really important, right? I mean, of course, you are trying to beat two of them, your soft skills and hard skills hand in hand, but sometimes you actually really need to go harder on one than the other, right? So at that time, I would have said that technical skills was more important, but for the important of soft skills, of course, it is because at the end of the day, you have to communicate why should be taken seriously on different in different situations, be it you being employed or you getting an approval for a budget for like a project or at work, or so building your communication skills, just being adaptable. I think it was also something that helped me when I was at Endeavour. I wasn't just looking to be stuck on marketing and comms, so just also putting myself in different teams was eye-opening as well. So it also, just being adaptable it also gave me that validation that it could be a career move for myself. I could present myself as being a generalist, having a very good understanding of how, different spaces work within an organization, right? So I'm not exactly indispensable.
So thereafter, you worked at LearnAim,
Yeah.
turned out to be an edtech startup.
Yeah.
Or you worked on the marketing and communications team.
Yeah.
How did that come to be?
I applied directly to the opening, and I got the first interview, and I got the role. Boy,
Twins.
and I remember that day, I was in chemistry class, and I left the class, stepped outside for the interview, and yeah, so it came through. But I think one exciting thing about the role was that it was the first time that I was going to be leading out marketing initiative for a company. So it was challenging because it was just going to determine, it was just going to either expose me, positively or negatively, right? But again, the working with the founders were actually good people, and the person who I was reporting to was even, a better person. So that helped in terms of exposure. You get what I mean? So at the end of the day, I learned a lot of lessons, and I also had some wins, which was good. So it helped me to smooth transition in my next job. Yeah.
Okay, and then the next job, you worked at Over building Stax.
Yeah.
Right. How did that come to be? And for context, Over is a fintech startup, and I reckon that you try to make financial transactions possible without internet.
Yeah.
And these are using USSD.
Yeah.
So how did that come to be?
I think that has to be my best career experience so far in marketing, because for different reasons. How that happened was I was just randomly in a one-on-one conversation with one of my mentors, just a check-in, right? And Something random just happened because I was just in a place of providing solution to one of the marketing initiatives that she was just randomly talking about. And I'm like, you know what? I could help you build that, right? From scratch and all of that. She was like, oh, yes, actually, I think I'm actually going to need you for that. And that's how I got into Stax. And then from there, within like a few months, moved from there to owning more marketing channels and just managing them. And I think the best thing about working at Hover was the people, right? Americans, Kenyans.
Diversity.
Yeah, that was amazing. And also just to see, it was a perfect example of how a team could dream and also work towards it, right? We're working hard at the goal at the time and just trying to just trying to prove hypothesis wrong or correct at times. So like,
One thing I keep getting from the journey is mentors. Keep talking about your mentor, this mentor, Lamid, that. How important has mentors been in your journey? Your first year, you took the one before you come to university, you reached out to people already.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like you figure out quickly how fast your career can be if you're looking at people and then you're getting insights from them. So how important has mentors been in your journey?
Very important, very important. I think one of the ways I demystify on certain situations is to actually talk to people who have been through that journey. Right. So it helps me to just understand what's possible. Right. And if they have done that and they did it as big as that, then I'm asking myself, why can't you even, do much more than that? So it helps in that regard. And also, it helps in identifying, should I say, whatever gap there is, maybe in skill, like your skills. So, like, if the person achieved this when they were there, I mean, you could aim for that, right? Or you could set your own standard based on what you have seen. So, it's actually just really important, but most importantly for me, just helping me demystify things that is things that are ahead of me and I've actually not seen before. Yeah, for the most part. I mentioned something like this in what I've said just now, but it also helps. It makes the journey easier and it comes with less pressure when you can shadow people. Like you've seen what they've done from here to here. So like you can just shadow them. You know exactly, by all means. And even at different points, you can build your own thing from scratch and people follow you as a template. But it's also correct to get ideas from different people and make a cumulative inference from what could be for yourself from having mentors. Yeah.
All right. So if you're watching this is your site for your mentor, right? Yes, your mentor.
Yeah.
Furthermore, you at Cover, right? You worked
Yeah.
on the growth team first, then product marketing.
Yeah.
Right. So what's your day-to-day responsibilities like?
So you look at it like this. There's a goal, there's a target to get to actually. And so now what is in the middle is how to get to that target, right? And the most efficient way to get to that target, because you exactly don't have all the time and also don't have all the money, right? And so day to day, I am managing a few of these marketing channels that are giving us the results. It could be acquisition, it could be retention, whatever it is. And so you're actually just tying it back to those marketing channels and just doing the actual work. It could be email marketing, it could be an influencer marketing campaign, it could be the community program, it could be your content marketing, right? What sort of content are you ideating and how is that going to translate to the goal that's in front? So it was basically that, just ideating the most efficient ways that the marketing channels could um, take us closer to the goal. And it's also meant that you're actually doing the work down to crafting copy, down to writing emails for customers, down to down to those tasks basically. Yeah, I mean I could go on and on about but yeah, at different times it also changes. Yeah.
So I want to touch on your role as Klas. Before that, I'm curious. See, there's someone out there who is looking to build a career in product and growth marketing. perhaps just starting out, what advice you have for that person based on the experience?
Honestly, get your certifications, the free ones, if you have access to, if you have, the means to pay for some as well. Do that, but don't be so stuck on that, right? Most importantly, get that experience, right? Especially within companies. And I mean, unlike some other, should I say, tech careers, you can work on some projects on your own. And all. Marketing, you can't exactly formulate some campaign, and maybe you can't exactly do that. So you have to get into spaces where there's a system for you to do that, right? And to prioritize actually getting experience. Yeah, to be honest, just focus on trying to learn fast on the job, right? And then you'll even learn better like that, right? That's the way marketing just works. And also be very curious, ask a lot of questions. And one of the assignments that one of my mentors has given me before is randomly look at different products and form your own case studies out of them. What are their marketing channels? What are their initiatives? How do you infer that they use these channels to actually, make this happen? Like, if you pick a piggy vest, you probably see a lot of their human content. What do you think that content translates to for them, right? How do you think another brand can apply it and all of those things? So, yeah, just try and do the hard work of, educating yourself with what is already out there. And then, yeah, linking my second point, which is curiosity, is ask a lot of questions. Marketing leaders are everywhere. Ask them questions, and that's one of the ways you actually get them to even consider them mentoring you. Just genuinely, just be curious to know why this is this, and just away from what HubSpot or Google certification or Udemy certifications will give you. Yeah, those three things.
What are your thoughts on paid internships?
Paid or unpaid? Unpaid. So to be honest, there's context to it, right? But I definitely believe that employers should be kind enough to actually pay, because to be honest, no matter how much you want to say a person is coming in to learn, they will also make some efforts. Yeah, they'll add some value to your company. Even if it's one copy that they've written, and like, that's something. So like, and based on my own personal belief as well, in terms of my religion, I just believe in fairness, and just, I don't think you should bamboozle people that, so like, just pay them, right? Yeah, but again, not everyone has the privilege to, because there's some points in your career early on that you really need that experience, and sometimes whether the person is kind enough to pay you, you just want to get your experience and learn and move on, right? In the next 3, 5 years, 10 years of your career, you probably forget that you're not paid really anyway. So the money can always come.
Also, you going back to Klas now, yeah? You work as a product marketing specialist there.
Yeah, sort of lead.
Right?
Lead, yeah.
How did that come to light, and what's your day like there?
So I used to be at Selar, and so I was poached from Selar to Klas by the CEO randomly just one day. Saw his message on LinkedIn, and yeah, it was just exciting, because just like Lenam the other time, it was now, and I've learned a lot of things along the line. So it was now another opportunity to lead out, marketing for a startup that is actually promising. And so, of course, that was the first thing that came to my mind. That, okay, I mean, some people believed in Paystack, right, at some point, and they did marketing. they led out marketing efforts for Paystack, and so it has become today. So, I liken that to my own story as well. Klas could be X today Klas could be Y tomorrow, if I actually get in and do my magic, right? And so that was the most important thing. Yeah, and I think also just being a part of something that you can attribute your contribution to the growth of the company at every point in time. So yeah, it was a no-brainer to actually.
I think my favorite part of this entire conversation thus far has been you handling an interview after a chemistry class. And that leads to my next question here. how do you combine school with your work and extracurricular activities and internal PAADC? How do you make all that work balancing this?
That's a good question. So I used to like this. I think this is a question I'm asked a lot of times. And before, I used to answer with a calmer tone and a response like, "Oh yeah, it's not that bad." But like, almost as you climb up the ladder in school and even your career, it gets more difficult. Um, it gets more difficult. And now I'm facing it. So, but I think that for the most part of it, um, your commitment, you have to know that if you are doing all of this together, you're not going to have the exact lifestyle as person B or person C who is in the same class with you. So meaning that if person B or person C is maybe going clubbing and they're going to play football in the evening, or they're going to visit their friends, that's probably not going to be a lifestyle, right? Um, you are probably going to have more stuff to do and just be in front of your laptop, just working. You have to be comfortable with that. That's the sacrifice you are giving to just make sure that you come out of it successfully, all of that successfully. And that's one. So you have to like reevaluate your commitment and just stick to the fact that you're going to be near a workaholic, right? Not that you're going to have zero fun. Of course you will, but not recklessly or not the one that you're not going to calculate, your time and all those things and energy. Second thing is support system is important, very very important. I would always like beat my chest for the type of community I have, type of friends I have, my family. I think it also helps that even with my classmates as well, a few of them who are, they actually know how I work, right? It's easier for me to just call for help, right? I mean, not sort of like criminal offense type of help, like, oh, help me write my test, not that type. But like, yeah, you could just, ask for updates on, what's happening in class. You can know when to pull back a bit. That when they tell you that, oh, nothing too serious is happening, and a test is likely to come up next week, so you might want to start, so like they keep you up to date with, oh, this lecturer said this in class, right? You should pay attention to this and all of that. In exam, this lecturer said they're expecting this. So, you can put all of that together and, stay abreast of things. So your support system actually is number two. Thirdly, honestly, you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of your mind. You have to take care of yourself. Ensure that you are just very happy with yourself. On some days, if you have to order that expensive food from that restaurant, do it. Right. If you have to just be jumping and singing happily on the road to your hostel or wherever, honestly, just do it. Just feel free, be happy. Be happy with yourself. And fourthly, I mean, the fourth thing, just stay curious. Just be very conversant with your environment, so you don't just get lost in one thing or the other. It's just very important. So you could also, it helps you in terms of like accountability in terms of, okay, I'm here now as a working class student. What can I do to manage this better, to do this better? For example, your academics now, you have to pay attention to, okay, how you can, step up the standard a bit in there. So you're not just lost into your work, but you're also conversant enough to know that, oh, like I can still step this up in my academics, right?
You're saying the relationship between your academics and your work, it's and not or not this or that. It's like
It's not this or that, yeah. Just not that.
So I was going to ask you what you do for self care. I know you're a football fan. I know you talk about Prison Break a lot.
Oh yes, I've watched Prison Break 5 times now. And maybe Game of Thrones like 4 times as well. Yeah, I love rewatching series that I enjoy. But aside from that, I love playing video games. I love playing FIFA. I like watching football as well. And then social interaction is very key for me. I love to meet with people and smile and just banter and just life is too hard, just to just have that sense of community. Just talk about life lately. It doesn't have to be too deep. Some occasion it can be deep, but just and then celebrate people. You guys celebrate yourself. It's life anyway. Like nobody's getting out here alive, so there's no need to tighten these things to your chest. Just So I really just love to be around people. Yeah.
So finally, last question here. Or if there's something you could change about your entire journey, what would it be?
Interesting. Ha! That's a difficult question. Let me see. Would there have been anything really? Honestly, I really don't think so. I think I'm just really grateful for everything that's happened so far. I don't think there's anything. If I thought there's one thing, but I won't spill. But there's one thing I think I would have loved to challenge myself more with. Something I would have loved to actually just challenge myself with. So yeah, but that didn't happen. And I mean, no regrets really.
I feel like even the mistakes, I mean, they're important to you.
Yeah.
Right. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Amazing.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I learned so much.
You did a great job too. Your questions are great.
For me, I'm not as praise me, guys.
Come on.
Thank you very much, guys.